Good morning, everybody. Happy Thursday. I'm excited about our project today. It's called 1 Point Perspective Aquarium, and it was really fun to make, so I think you guys will enjoy it. It's a little challenging, but in a good way. 1 point perspective is a way of drawing that you would draw from your one perspective, or like where you're standing, and everything is going to start out close to you and then it kind of disappears into the distance. So you'll see what I mean in just a second. It's a really good learning tool to give your art pieces depth or showing distance. You'll need drawing materials of any kind. I'll tell you what kinds I used, but it's, kind of open-ended on what materials you have or you want to use. And then you need a ruler or a straight edge. My husband borrowed my ruler, so I just have actually like a paint stirring stick. So you don't need a ruler, you just need something that could help you keep your pencil straight. So this is my example, and if you notice, so this is my aquarium, and the walls are obviously like under the water, and so is the ceiling, and then I did this black and white tile floor. So when I talk to you about perspective, if I were standing here, right, these objects are going to be nice and big, nice and close to me, and as it goes further into the distance, things are going to get smaller and smaller. Like I made my squid all the way back here like pretty tiny, and then I've got things kind of going off the page. So the idea of perspective is that things are going to get smaller as they go into the distance all the way to that dot. So I'm actually going to make this on a smaller scale for this example, just for time's sake. And again, I'm going to start with my straight edge. I would use a pencil to begin. I'm going to use a Sharpie so that you can see it easily. And the first thing we're going to do is to make an X that goes straight across our paper. So from corner to corner, corner to corner, we're going to make a big X. So I wish, this is why a ruler would be kind of handy. Or a straight edge that was actually straight the whole way, but it's okay, we're going to wing it. Okay. Not find my ruler, and I found out that my husband was using it. So okay, so there's my X, and I have my little dot in the middle. The lines don't have to be perfect. Obviously mine kind of was like a little skewed. That's totally fine. So the next thing that we're going to do is we're going to make the poles, like the sides of the aquarium, they'd have to be straight up and down. So I'm going to just make, you don't have to make a lot of them, but just perfectly straight up and down. So if you need to line your straight edge to the bottom of your paper to help you see like where straight up and down would be. Okay, so I want to do probably the same amount on each side. I forgot to mention too, they can get further apart. I forgot to actually do that at all. But they can get further apart, like in my example, like these ones are a little bit closer than those ones, but it's okay if they're not, that's totally fine. So now what we're gonna do is we're going to make, and I have to kind of turn my paper, we're gonna make the curved line that's gonna show that the ceiling's like kind of rounded. And then this one is going to get cut off, but that's okay, because that's going to be like right above us. So here's my ceiling, here's my walls. If you want to make a tiled floor similar to the one that I made in the example, you're going to make your lines that go horizontal. So I'll show you here. So these lines are going horizontally, which means straight across. And then these lines actually come from the center of our X all the way to the edge. So I'll show you what I mean by that. So I'm going to start with the horizontal lines. And these ones too, you can make, like, when they're further in the distance, they can be a little closer together. Oops, that's really crooked. And then when you get closer, so that's why I should have lined my rulers up. As you get closer to like where you would be standing, they can get further apart. Okay, so those are my lines that go straight across. Now remember, the other lines are going to come from the center of my X where the dot is. And I'm just going to make 3. Okay, so there's my tiled floor. So I'm going to quickly fill the tiled floor in with a time lapse. Okay, so my floor's all filled in. As you probably noticed, I did like every other one, so it would do that checkered pattern again. I think the checkered pattern, seeing it go into the distance and get smaller, brings out that it's a 1-point perspective, but you don't have to do that if you don't want to. The way that I colored my larger painting is that I made my details out of marker, and then I watercolored around them, and I used watercolor paint because I think it really easily gives it kind of like that underwater feel. So I'm going to do the same, but you're welcome to color it however would make you happy. I think some of the examples I've seen online, people made, they use colored pencil or crayon, or they watercolored the whole thing. If you do watercolor the underwater animals and the background, my only suggestion would be to paint the animals, let them dry, and then, or even the plants, whatever, let them dry for a while before painting the background, because watercolor can like smear and kind of mix. So I would use a pencil to do this. I'm going to use a marker, so if I make a mistake, I'm going to have to live with it. But I'm going to start here, and I'm going to make the appearance of a shark, kind of going out of the frame. So you can use your edges to make it look like things are swimming by. So I'm going to start with this one. You guys probably know way more about sharks, and I probably didn't quite draw it correctly to how they actually are, but that's okay. And I tried to do like an even spread of putting things everywhere. So, you know, I have an animal here, maybe I'll do a small one here, I could do a bigger one up here, another one here, and then maybe another small one there. So you really want to cover your whole paper, and you don't have to do too much in one space. And it also doesn't have to be scientifically correct, because I'm sure they wouldn't put a shark in the same tank as an innocent little fish or maybe a squid. So I'm just going to fill this in, and then when I go to watercolor, I just have to be careful about where I'm putting, you know, like making my brush. Oh, the one thing I forgot, I was going to make some seaweed. So I'll do that. So the seaweed should go straight up and down, which would be like vertical. So you wouldn't want to angle it, because then it would look like it was falling off our little aquarium earth. 1-point perspective is definitely challenging my 8th graders. They make a really nice 1-point perspective drawing every year. So if you are in 8th grade, I would, well, if you haven't done this yet for 8th grade, I would highly recommend you try it. We do something a little different though for, they make a 1-point perspective, usually of a road in the country or in a city. So I'm just gonna make sure that if I go to make some more seaweed back here, it's gonna be much smaller because I want it to look like it's further away. I hope that makes sense. So I'll just do a few more over here, kind of quick coloring. Okay. Ah! Okay. Okay, so there's my seaweed. I could make a coral, which could be really any color. Maybe I'll actually have a coral like going off the page. I don't really know what coral looks like, but I'm gonna go with it. So I'm actually just gonna color this in, and if you use marker or colored pencil or even crayon, you can color something in and then use a darker color to go over it. So I'm gonna do that just to give my coral some texture. I'm gonna try to be quick with coloring. I know yesterday's video was long and I always feel bad if the video is like more than 10 minutes. But hopefully you guys have enjoyed the video so far and you don't mind watching, even on the long ones. Okay, so maybe I'll use a dark purple and I can make some little circle texture on my coral. Make it look spongy. Okay, almost done with that. Sorry, I probably won't do as many underwater things just for time's sake, but here I can show you again. I did a turtle, a seahorse, a starfish, a squid, a jellyfish. I don't know what that's a tail of. I kind of just wanted to do a cool tail, so it could be a whale, a dolphin, a mermaid, nobody knows. A fish, I did a little school of fish, I did a coral, and then there's my shark. And then I did kind of the tail of a fish, so that it was kind of a mystery. So you could do whatever kind of underwater animals. I'll just maybe do 2 more so that you guys can see. So maybe I'll make a fish. Maybe I'll do a fish up here, or I'll do a fish here maybe, and then a jellyfish on the top. Okay, so I'm gonna not do the tail yet. Except I kind of get myself in trouble when I use a light color, because when I went to paint around my yellows, I was so nervous that I was gonna mess it up. Oops. Okay. So then I'm gonna color this in pink. So I hope you guys are doing good. I miss seeing you. It's gonna be a little bit rainy for the next few days. I think we might even get some snow, which I'm sad about because I just started. We would take my daughter Olivia outside, and it was so nice to be able to go outside. Okay, my fish needs an eye. There's my little fish. Okay, so fish, shark, jellyfish is next. I'm going to make it maybe with some, maybe I'll do like blues and purples. I'm trying to think of what I haven't used yet. colors out. Okay, so for my last jellyfish, I just made, maybe I made, and thankfully because this is black, I can just draw right over it. So I kind of just made this little shape, and then I did the, oops, I meant to make that go up. So that way you could see the inside of the jellyfish, but oops, I made a mistake. It's okay. Should probably honestly look at a jellyfish because I don't quite know what I'm doing. Okay. And then I made some of those longer things. I'm gonna make some polka dots. I don't know if jellyfish actually have polka dots. Probably not. But I'll make some anyway just to make this bright and colorful. Yeah, I'll do one more thing kind of smaller in the distance so you can see. But this is supposed to be floating above. Okay, and then I can make more little wavy lines for my jellyfish. And then maybe I'll color this part with this color. I think my favorite part of doing this last night was just coming up with different animal ideas, like underwater life. I don't know a ton about the ocean. I did get to go to the Atlanta Aquarium last spring when I went to visit my dad, and that was really cool. I'd never been to an aquarium before, so that was super fun. And I learned a little bit, but obviously based on probably how I'm drawing these animals, I could use a little more. All right, I might just add a little bit more. Cool. Okay, so there's my jellyfish. So now what I'll do, I might just add the little, okay. So I'm just gonna do something tiny in the distance, remember, because we wanna show that things are, you know, getting smaller as they go back. So what I might add is, I could do, starfishes are little anyway. Maybe I'll do a little seahorse. Okay, sorry, I definitely said I was not gonna take this long and I'm taking super long, so, sorry. Okay, I'm gonna do a little, seahorses are actually a little anyway, but that's okay. Okay, there's my little seahorse. All right, there we go. So, if I had more time, I would probably do a few more things, but that's okay, this is great for now. So the next step is gonna be to do the watercolor painting for the background. And I'll probably time lapse it and just show you how I kind of went around carefully. Okay, so my aquarium is all painted in. Again, I hope you have fun with this. It's 1-point perspective, which is a challenge to draw. That's a new concept for a lot of you, but it's something, you know, it's such a great thing to know as an artist, how to make things disappear into the distance and thinking about that. So when someone looks at your art piece, they're thinking that, I'll show you in my big example, like when they're walking down the hallway, things are just gonna, you know, disappear and get smaller. So it's all about tricking the eye and perception. Oh, look at that. That's kind of cool. So anyway, I hope you guys have fun with this. If you decide to do it, I would love to see pictures. I hope you have a great day. I miss you a lot, and I will see you tomorrow.